pretty obvious, I think, to say it's the students and the educators that make up this network that inspire me so much. I've had a chance, so lucky to be able to meet with a few of the school teams, to see the work in action, and to feel the energy and the excitement, and to see how much educators care about their students and their community and the connections that they're making. It's just been such a privilege.
Moi, personnellement, j'ai vraiment aimé la collaboration. On sait que les réseaux, c'est axé sur les écoles, mais même avec l'équipe de recherche, les assistants, il y a une belle cohésion.
Je réfléchis beaucoup à cette question de définition et elle change de façon continue grâce à mes interactions avec les membres du réseau. Mais en ce moment, je dirais que ma définition, elle est comprise de 3 éléments. Voix, choix et joie. Nécessairement, l'apprentissage ludique valorise les voix de tous. Qu'est-ce qui me passionne comme enfant, comme enseignant dans l'école? Pourquoi suis-je là? Pourquoi est-ce que cette activité a du sens pour moi, pour mon identité? Pour l'enseignant, quel est mon objectif dans cette activité? Et le choix. Les recherches confirment ce que les enseignants me racontent. Les élèves ont besoin d'avoir plusieurs différents choix, d'avoir de l'agency dans cet apprentissage ludique. Les enseignants ont besoin d'une flexibilité aussi à cet égard. Et la joie. Nécessairement, l'apprentissage ludique est joyeux pour les membres. Peut-être pas à tout moment, si on vit un petit défi, ça fait partie du processus aussi, mais grosso modo, voix, choix et joie pour tous.
Previously, I thought learning through play was just fun and happy and excitement, but through the work that we have seen with these schools, we see that it's in addition to those moments of happiness and excitement, we also see a lot of challenge, a lot of risk, and sometimes failure, and that's where most of the meaningful learning happens. So my definition really changed from not just happy and exciting, but also those moments of failing and challenge.
It has been a really great opportunity to connect with so many of the school teams in the playgroups and also in the professional learning series that we have, the Play to Aid Professional Learning series, and also in some of the school visits that I have been able to lead. And we've learned so much, but I think at the core, it's how educators themselves are finding a way through play and how it has been impacting not only their students and surprising them in some ways for certain students. We're seeing that it has had an impact for some students in attendance. It has had an impact students who maybe are challenged by the idea of play and risk-taking. And also seeing where some have some real strengths in these spaces, and also for us as educators to think about how this impacts and changes our own pedagogies. So it has been a great experience to be connecting and hearing about stories and seeing educators get ideas from each other to inspire each other, but also to work together and to build the teams within a school and think about how that can spread beyond.
What we learned from the monthly reports was that progress is not linear. So because the schools were sending in their reports each month, we were able to see the highs, the lows, the steady points of their journeys. And of course, each journey was very different to each other, but what we saw that was consistent and quite similar was that learning through play was a pivot to traditional learning. It wasn't a replacement of it. And in all senses, learning through play was still learning.
Donc, ce qui a été ressorti, c'était de voir comment les élèves engagés dans leur apprentissage peuvent ressortir beaucoup plus de fierté par rapport à ce qu'ils accomplissent. C'est lors des écoles ont même mentionné que les problèmes de comportement liés à certains élèves disparaissaient lors des activités ludiques qui étaient beaucoup plus stimulantes pour eux.
The during the school visits, we were actually able to see firsthand the amount of effort and thought and planning that was going into these projects. We weren't just reading about it, we weren't just like seeing it on the reports, we were seeing it firsthand, which was so important and meaningful for us. So when I say that the teachers are the people that inspire us, I really truly mean it. Because walking around those classrooms and seeing the students working on these projects, it reminded us what we are truly advocating for. We heard stories about students that were not engaged earlier being engaged, and students who felt isolated taking on leadership roles in this project. We also heard about stories where students did not like or weren't excited to come to class, who were now excited to show up.
The key elements of this network is designing an opportunity for educators across Canada, across 7 provinces, to come together to learn with and from one another. We also want to know a little bit about the network and how do networks work? What kind of principles drive effective networks? How do we know our network is effective, and how do we think about sustainability of a network? So one of the research projects that I've been leading is thinking about using social network analysis, called SNA, to examine what's happening across the network. So for those of you who are in the lead position, you will be familiar with the tracker that we use, and this tracker is actually helping us see your connection. So how is your group, your school team connecting? Who are you seeking out as resources? Who has been supporting your learning journey? And how do we as a network connect with one another? And so we've been taking all of these monthly trackers, and we have been looking at it across the entire 41 school teams and thinking about who is connecting with whom, how are we being supported, and so we are using an analysis process. As I said, social network analysis that was developed actually in 1939 by Dale Moreno, who was looking at how do we figure out connectors and the way of influencing and the spread of knowledge. And so we will be working to produce that analysis over the summer, and we look forward to sharing it back with our network members and getting your comments and feedback.
Donc, débutant l'été passé, nous nous sommes divisés en 5 équipes de recherche parce que nous avons chacun différents sujets qui nous passionnent par rapport à l'apprentissage ludique pour mener une recherche documentaire, pour aller trouver tous les articles, toutes les recherches qui ont été faites sur nos sujets et identifier les meilleures pratiques, où sont peut-être les zones d'ombre, où est-ce qu'on pourrait peut-être contribuer au sein de notre réseau. Les 5 thématiques sont l'apprentissage ludique et l'inclusion, l'apprentissage de la langue, le jeu en plein air, le bricolage, à la fois physique et numérique, et tout ce qui est numérique et ludique. Avec ces recherches, nous avons identifié des pratiques gagnantes pour justement les élèves de la 4e à la 8e année. Ensemble, nous avons recensé environ 10 000 articles pour trouver ceux et celles qui répondaient justement à nos questions, et nous partageons tout ce que nous avons trouvé dans ces revues de la portée sur les affiches que vous trouverez lors de la conférence.
It's such an exciting time because we are finally getting the school teams together to share what they've been working on all year. The learnings, the good, some of the challenges, the tensions, but also thinking about what's next. And so the spark has happened. We see it in action. We're excited to see how each school team will build on the work that they've been doing and have new ideas for meeting with one another. So what do I hope for the network? I hope that it continues to inspire. I hope it continues to be a space where people can share resources now that we've really been through a year together. That the CPSN offers legitimacy to school teams to think about learning through play. That we could be there as a resource and a support. We don't know what it's going to look like because it really does matter up to the members to figure out. And that's part of what we're doing together at the conference, is thinking about what was useful, maybe what wasn't as useful, areas that would help. And I think we're going to have something new, something exciting, but definitely sparks in schools for kids.